Welcome to Beyond the Pages. Our special guest today is Sarah Vogel, who wrote this book, The Farmer's Lawyer, about her case brought on behalf of farmers in a class action lawsuit against the federal government in the early 1980s. It's a fascinating read. In fact, there's a blurb on the back from Willie Nelson saying, Sarah Vogel and I share an ornery persistence in the face of bullies. This is her real-life story of fighting for farmers as they were pushed off the land by a plan ordered and carried out by top officials of our government. We are happy to have Sarah Vogel as our guest today on Beyond the Pages. Well, Sarah, thanks for being with us today. It's just very exciting to talk to you. I know your career you spent your career as an advocate for those who are fighting the good fight, it feels like, but most of your career in North Dakota advocating for farmers. Yeah. So you write this book about this very important case. I guess my first question is, what compels somebody who was an attorney their whole life to become an author and write a book about one of their most famous cases?
Well, I was waiting for a historian to write the book about the case, and none came forward, so I realized it would have to be me. So I spent years trying to clear the deck so that I would have time to do it out of the practice of law. And then I wrote it because I felt that if there was another farm depression, and they come in cycles used to be every 50 years, now I think it's less, I wanted people to be thinking about the lessons of the past. So in my book, I deal a lot with the 30s, which inspired my actions, a lot of my actions in the 80s. And then I think if we can look back to the 30s and the 80s, we can fashion better solutions today should more catastrophic bad news occur with family farmers. And the linkage between family farmers and small town vitality is irrefutable. I mean, they are one and the same. So people who want to save the small and middle-sized towns need to be thinking about working with and saving family farmers too.
For sure. What is it about your upbringing or whatever that led you to sort of want to fight that fight? As I say, even right out of law school, you kind of took jobs that had you in that role.
I was raised in the nonpartisan league religion. I realize it is a political party, but in my family, it was a religion. My grandfather was active in the nonpartisan league. My father was active in the nonpartisan league. And, on these long drives across the country, and my dad ran for Congress when I was in high school, and I was the driver. I got lectures. Every time we went on a trip, I would hear about the Nonpartisan League. Every town we drove through, there was a story. And so it was immersed in me. And so when the 80s farm depression came along and I was back in North Dakota and the farmers started showing up, it was like instinctive. It was a mission. I felt I had to represent them. So I did.
And your time at UND, did that have an influence on you as well? Talk a bit about your time here in the honors program at UND.
The honors program was just a really important influence on me. It taught me how to research. It taught me a lot about reading, history. It gave me confidence, I think, that I could think. I was pretty much a political science junkie, and so I wove in a lot of NPL stuff into my theses. For example, I did a thesis about the German-Russians, which is very important today with the Ukraine war, and why they always voted for the Nonpartisan League, and why they voted for Langer, and how they voted for Langer even after Langer was dead. And so, some of these tidbits of history were extremely important to me, and the education and the skills that I learned and the friendships I made here at UND, very important to my entire career up to today.
So this coming homecoming in the fall, you'll be a recipient of the Sioux Award. What does that mean to receive the highest honor that the Alumni Association Foundation presents?
It's extremely moving, and I'm really grateful. I'm grateful to the university for the support over the years and for the wonderful work it does and is doing, and its status as the ultimate liberal arts university here in North Dakota. And I'm speaking as an ultra liberal arts graduate of UND, which was extremely helpful even when I was Commissioner of Agriculture, because of the history and the knowledge and the skills that I had to bring to that office, for example.
Not only did you advocate for the little guy, we'll say, but you also were a bit of a trailblazer as well, in the sense that there were not a lot of women practicing law nationally, let alone in North Dakota, and yet you took this case and built it into a class action lawsuit for farmers across the country.
Yeah, it's kind of odd, but like when I started working with farmers, many farmers had a bad attitude about lawyers, but their bad attitude extended only to men lawyers. So I had more of an open door. I was less scary, maybe less threatening than a male lawyer. So that they were the ultimate great clients. I loved working with them, and I was as broke as they were. I didn't let them know how extremely precarious my situation was, because that would have made them even more scared, even more nervous. But they were bringing me food, and they were bringing me fish that they caught, and putting gas in my car when I came out to work with them at their farms. I say work, I mean working at the kitchen table, not out on the farm. They were in that one instance. I think it helped that I was a woman, because I didn't carry the baggage of the lawyers that they had experienced in their lives.
And as we're taping this, you are on campus for the Writers' Conference. I have to imagine you never thought you'd be a presenter at the UND Writers' Conference.
No. In fact, when I was doing this case, and I was working so hard, and I remember the Writers' Conference came up, and these fabulous authors and poets were coming in, and I was able to creep out of the office for a few hours and listen to these fabulous writers, and it was like oxygen. It was like it was so important. And so for me today, to be back at the Writers' Conference as an author is just such a thrill. It's a wonderful program, the UND Writers Program, and I just love it. It's great. I'm happy and honored that I was invited.
Well, we'll look forward to having you back on campus for homecoming for the Sioux Awards. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Milo. Thank you, and thank you the whole UND team.